Welcome back, guys. Today we're getting an introduction to the idea of psychological archetypes and how we can use them to be somebody who isn't us. Let's talk about archetypes, psychological archetypes. This is going to be the first video, just an introduction here into an entire series on archetypes. This is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. First, what is an archetype? Well, you probably heard that word before. It means a model of something, some sort of pattern of what we know. But Carl Jung was the first one to introduce that word or use this word in psychology, and he called them, I love this analogy, psychic organs. They were parts of who we are, parts of our psychological being that we can call on and use when we need to. If we eat too much, we call on our stomach, our intestines. If we drink too much, we have to use our liver. We have our skin as the first protection against disease coming in. We have different parts of our biology, and they all serve the overall purpose of helping us live. And our psychic organs, our archetypes, are different parts of our psychology that all serve the overall purpose of helping us become an individual, of helping us individuate. Whenever you find yourself thinking something of, oh, I could do this, I could reach out to this person, I could partake in this sort of action, but it doesn't really feel like me. It just doesn't really feel like who I am. That is a good indication that we need to incorporate some sort of archetype, some sort of pattern of behavior that we have yet to call upon up until that point. And a good way to think of archetypes in relation to the emotional diagram, this isn't different information, it's just a different flavor, a different slice of how our emotions work. Think of archetypes as the map. I know I've called this a map, but just for this analogy, think of archetypes as the map and the emotional diagram, what decisions we make on a moment-to-moment basis. This is the car, this is how it works. This is getting your engine to work, this is getting your wheels to operate, and carburetor, if you have a car from 1984. Archetypes is, okay, where are we going? What do we need to do? And a destination would be your intention, which comes back to boundary. But yeah, just an overall pattern of behavior is a good way to think of archetypes. I mean, just think of a gorilla troop or a troop of chimpanzees. I think they're called troops. Now, to get that gorilla group to work or chimpanzee group to work, there's going to be different roles in this group. There's going to be the leader. There's going to be the supporters of the leader. There's going to be the guy who doesn't really have any male friends, but the women like him, so they keep him around. And all of these people just serve to help the group to function based on what a gorilla is. Based on the nature of the gorilla, they need different roles to function, and that's what an archetype is. Based on what humanity is, we need different roles. We need different roles in society, but us ourselves, we need to take on different roles based on who we are. And we're not going to go into the specific archetypes in this video. Maybe I will, depending on how long this video goes on, my best judgment of how long it's going on. But that's the idea. So based on the genotype, based on what we are, it influences the phenotype. It influences our patterns of behavior. And to at least some extent, our patterns of behavior, not just our personality, but any sort of pattern of behavior, it is influenced by our genes. And so what happens then, the patterns of behavior that work the best based on what we are, and these feed off of each other, based on what we are influences our nature, and our nature influences our archetypes, our patterns of who we are. This in turn goes back and influences our genotype, our genetics. So it really comes down to, what does a human need to do to survive? Okay, well, we can talk about how to get your car working. So where do we need to go? What direction can we possibly go in? And this is very helpful because oftentimes in therapy or in any sort of psychological growth, you find yourself stuck up against a point and you think, it just doesn't feel like me. I want to do that. Just something about it. Whenever you make the face of, no, yeah, I don't, yeah. I mean, ultimately this is anxiety. Of course, it all comes back to our emotional diagrams. But a good way to bring awareness is to think, what archetype could I incorporate here? And the basic four, I mean, there's a lot more than four, but there's four basic ones. If we plot out, if we have compassion up here, right? So the ultimate archetype is the self, is the psyche, as Jung would say, or maybe not the ultimate, but the most foundational archetype that informs all the other ones, as Jung would say, is the self, which is represented by a cross in the west, a mandala in the east. We have confidence, we have we have compassion, we have confidence, and then we have principled thinking. Go back to my decisions video. I talk about the difference between principled thinking and intuitive thinking, also called deductive, inductive. This is based on knowledge. This is based on experience. Two different kinds of decisions that we can make to confront our anxiety or assert our anger. And then we get four main archetypes out of this. We have king, warrior, magician, lover, or if you grew up watching Ninja Turtles like I did, we have Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. So let's say maybe you're higher on confidence, more prone to making inductive, intuitive decisions, maybe less likely to plan. This would be more of a J on the Myers-Briggs, and this would be more of a P. I have a lot of problems with the Myers-Briggs. That's an okay distinction to make. So if you find yourself more down here, higher on confidence, higher on inductive, sort of creative, that's another way of thinking of this, creative and analytical, then what do you need to do? If you need to individuate, you get to here. So you understand you need to go up here, which means you incorporate the king or Leonardo. I know you're Michelangelo, being the cool, collected leader, maybe more compassionate, concerned for everybody kind of guy, not so concerned about pizza and boogieing down, partying down. Yeah, Michelangelo is the party dude. But I know this doesn't feel like you, but this is what you need to incorporate. If you're a warrior, Donatello down here, what do you need to do? You need to incorporate the lover, the Raphael. It doesn't really feel like you, but to let you know what direction you need to go in to individuate, this will give you a good idea. And we're going to talk about this more next week, but this is just an introduction for now. But it really comes down to giving you a different perspective on essentially not just this, everything below the line of consciousness. Yeah, if you want to add a z-axis here, you can make it unconscious and conscious. But once we get this working, once we get our emotions working, once we get in touch with latent anxiety, latent anger, i.e. sadness, this, looking at archetypes, looking at the cross, looking at the mandala, helps us know what different kinds of decisions we could make to confront our anxiety and assert our anger. So we're going to be talking about this more in weeks to come. But for now, like and subscribe. Talk about this stuff with a buddy. Talk about this, learn it. If you really want to get into it, read Archetypes of the Collective Unconscious. I think it's volume 9, volume 10, one of those. And always remember that when it comes to using archetypes, it's ultimately about getting you to do something that just doesn't feel like you.